This is Goodwhispers, and this is a very special show that we're doing today. We have 6 lovely women from around the world who will be participating in Recipe for Life, where the motto is, if it takes 7 ingredients to bake a cake, how many more ingredients to live a life? These women are incredible women, just incredible. They've had tragedy, and they've overcome tragedy. Some of them have had more than one. But I think that they speak to each of our lives and touch each one of us in a unique way. With that in mind, I'd like to introduce the women. Also, as a point of reference, we do have a college student here today who is majoring in psychology and sociology. This particular show is dedicated to her, and all the women that you will see represented have had their names changed to protect their identity, but they can't escape where they're from, so they will be giving the general area. Caller on line 1, would you say your name and where you're from, please? Caller 1, are you online?
My name's Annie. Hello
there she is.
You out there. Very pleased to be here today. I am British, particularly from the south of Britain. Thank you.
Oh, I'm very glad to have you here today, Allie. Thank you. That was Allie, and she's from the southern part of Britain. Do we have our we do? Okay, our next caller, please say your name and where you're from.
I'm Candy, and I'm from Southern California.
Hi, Candy.
Hi.
It's just so exciting to have all these women from so many different places in the world. We have different classes of lifestyles and stories for them to tell you. And do we have okay, we have the other caller on the line. Who are you, caller?
Hello, I'm Katie, and I'm from Cape Cod.
Oh, it's very nice to have you with us today, Katie. Our next caller is from pretty far away. Do the Australian lady is next? Oh, the lady, okay, it's not the Australian lady next, but she'll be on soon. Caller, what is your name and where are you from? Caller?
I am Amy from France, and I am very happy to be here today.
Well, I hope that you're not in the least bit nervous, and we're very happy to have you. Oh, we do have our Australia girl on the line. Sorry to give away where you're from, but can you please say your name?
Hello there. I'm Jen from Australia, and down here we do really knit words and whatnot. But hello.
Oh, she sounds like a really cheerful girl. And last but not least, we have an American girl. And I've spent a lot of time talking with this gal on the phone, and I'm really happy that she's able to be with us. At first, she didn't think she was going to be able to, so here she is.
Hello, my lovely friends. I'm Sarah from Alabama.
Sarah from Alabama. So, without further ado, let's get going with the show. And we're going to randomly pick 3 of you out to discuss hot dogs. I'm going to pick Amy first from France, and let's go with Sarah from Alabama, and also let's go with Allie from South England. And the reason we're doing hot dogs is just so we can lighten up before we get into the more serious stuff. And if any of you get overwhelmed, you can just refer to our hot dog conversation, and maybe that'll help you get a nice breath of relief. So, why don't you start out for us, Amy?
In France, we don't eat your American hot dogs so very much, but we
We know them, and in Germany they call them they are known as a Frankfurter, and but in France we do not have so much of the hot dog. It is happy American dish full of food. Yeah, happy food.
So you don't eat it much in France. Yeah, I understand. And now let's have our fine girl from Alabama. Alabama girl, would you please let us know, Sarah, what you think about the hot dog?
You want me to say a few words about the hot dog? Well,
Please.
I can do that. The hot dog is American, and you see it at the baseball games like the French lady was just telling y'all about, but there's a lot of different kinds of hot. You can put chili on it, and you can also mustard and ketchup and your onions, and you got your you grilled and you boiled and you. I've never seen anybody fry a hot dog before, but I've seen them fry bologna, but kind of tastes like a hot dog. But yeah, it's definitely an American food.
Well, I thank you very much for giving your definition of hot dog. It sounds yummy. And one thing that I'm really sorry about is that we didn't get you very clearly when we were recording the first time. Your phone conversation did not come through, Allie, as well as we really would have liked it to. But would you please give us a few words on what you think about the American hot dog?
No, that's perfectly all right. I understand completely. What I would like to address is your American hot dog. Your hot dog, I think there are a lot of people in England that probably have access and tasted the hot dog. I personally have had them, but I like to have them with the baked beans. Baked beans are something that we are very, very happy with. I have it on toast, so naturally I would put it on your hot dog. I'm not quite sure that I agree that it's entirely an American affair, as one can find, as the French girl told you, that you can find them in Germany. I would assume that they started in Germany with the Frankfurter. However, I'm not completely aware that that would be accurate information.
Well, you might be right on that. I'm not sure either. And now we'll take a little bit of a break and do some deep breathing, and we'll get right back to you with the next segment of our show.
Now, Sarah, I know that this is a very hard subject. I know your story. We've shared time on the phone together. But can you briefly tell me about the tragedy in your life and what you did to cope with it?
Yes, ma'am, I'd be happy to tell you about the tragedy that I've experienced in my life. 10 years ago, I had 5 children, and I was expecting my 6th child. We lived up in Washington State during that time, and my husband, he farmed with a large co-op of farmers, and they were growing onions in our county. And my husband had all the children with him in the pickup truck that night when another truck in the oncoming lane of traffic veered into my husband's truck. And all 5 of my children died that night. And my husband was so critically injured. His lung was punctured. He had several broken ribs. And a lot of internal injuries, and they did not expect him to live. When they came and they told me, I just could not believe it. I can see it all right now, as if I was there again. I was in shock, but I just could not believe it. We had a lot of friends. We went to church. I did not take church that seriously. It just was part of life. But my friends, they took me to the hospital where I did learn everything was true. And I began to scream uncontrollably like a mad woman. And the doctors were concerned for my health and the unborn child's health, and they gave me drugs. They gave me a lot of drugs, and I had to stay on those drugs for a number of years after that. I stayed with my husband in the hospital for 6 months, and it took him to recover from his injuries. And during that time, our healthy daughter was born, but I just could not stop crying. My oldest child, she would have been 13 the year that she died, but she passed 3 days before her birthday. And I was just so used to the routine of getting the children off to school, my husband to work, and doing the many chores around the small farm that we had. When the children were no longer with us, I saw no real reason to get up in the morning, neither did my husband. Now, we had friends and family. They stayed real close to us for the first year, but the second year, like I said, was hard to get out of bed. People think that, oh, well, you had another daughter, that was good, but they don't understand. You see your children, you just so desperately want them back. You cannot believe that all 5 of your children could possibly be gone.
And could you let us know what you did to cope with this?
Well, ma'am, I'll tell you. During the second year of our mourning, our church came to us, and they said they wanted us to go down to be missionaries in Belize. And we were crazy. We went. And we stayed down there for 3 years, and I got off the medication the doctors had put me on while I was there, and it was like fog, lifted slowly. I think the turning point for me came, and what I mean by that is when I was not hurting like a deep cut in my heart every minute of the day. I think when I prayed that God would help me to only let myself hurt a little bit each day instead of all day, every night. When I was able to learn to allow myself to feel a certain way for a certain amount of time, I was able to allow happiness in again. I had no room for happiness, or it's as if I was just burying myself in my sorrow. I was a slave to my sorrow, even though you might understand my sorrow. I was drowning in it. I was in so much pain, I was like a sponge that could not hold any more hurt in. I was oversaturated. And when I allowed myself my sorrow for only an hour at a time, I was able to control it better. And what I mean by that, I say, yep, I want to cry. I want to cry my eyes out. But I will feel that way for only an hour. And then I'm moving on. It took practice to do this, but I kept doing it. I called it my bootstraps, pulling myself up by my bootstraps. And I knew I couldn't change anything, but I was fighting the reality of it. I was fighting it. I knew it was true, but I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want to look at it, but it was always there, and I'm sure you can understand. But I knew I could do this. I knew I could tell myself, you're only going to let yourself be sorrowful for a short time. You won't deny that you're sorrowful, but you can control it. And I'd like to tell y'all that this or that cured me for good, like once and for all. But That is not how it is. I hurt every day. I still do every day. And I suspect I always will. The only thing is, now, I can manage it.
That truly is a lovely story, and we thank you very much for sharing it. This is Good Whispers. We're going to have another episode where we talk to some of the other ladies. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Have a nice night.